And that really helps that it's a fair share of the work that's being held and you're able to upkeep the apartment or your dorm in a good shape. Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Today is a fun video and an exciting one because I've been wanting to do this one for quite some time now. I'm going to be talking about living with roommates. So if you have been following along my journey on YouTube, I have lived on campus throughout my entire college career. I will be moving out soon though. I'm a grad student now, so plans are changing and life has to move on. But I thought I'd just share some tips and advice of what my experiences has been here at FIU, and please take this for whatever university you may be going at. I believe that on-campus living is going to vary throughout each university, but I just hope that this video helps and gives you some type of mindset to prepare as you may be coming in living with a roommate in a shared room or individual room. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna talk about being in a shared room. I was in a shared room for my freshman year in college, my very first time living on campus, and then also during the summer because I went to study abroad and I wanted to save money by living on campus since I wasn't going to be there for almost a month. So I ended up getting a shared room there. But my experience with that was living in a shared room can be difficult, especially if you don't really get along with your roommate. When you're in a private room, you're able to have that separation of having your own space. Like, say if I had another roommate in here, like, she would be watching me make this video, so like if you think that's like awkward for you, then just keep that in mind. Obviously you guys will have different class schedules. Cleanliness was a big thing for me. You have to be able to adjust to the way that other people live, whether if you're in a shared or private. Top tips for living with roommates is going to be making a group chat with them, setting a schedule to clean, being able to communicate, and to really just know who you are. Because personally, I found that if my roommate started to sleep in, like I would start to sleep in. If I woke up early, my roommates would wake up early. So I feel like you kind of just like feed off each other's actions. That can be either a good thing or a bad thing. I personally like when my roommates and I are able to get along with cleaning the shower, washing the dishes, cleaning up after you cook after the kitchen, like just keeping the common area clean since that's what we use, we all share. Each dorm situation is different, but for the most part, whatever things you share, like the bathroom and everything, just, having your own space for it, not leaving things out in the open, no open food to attract any critters, always taking out the trash can, having that regimen going as well, because if you end up bringing the trash can, you're most likely going to be the one responsible for that. But if you set up schedule, which I've seen my other roommates do, not on campus, but just like even off campus living, I've seen my friends have like a calendar and be like, okay, this weekend I'm doing this weekend I'm doing that, this weekend I'm doing this. And that really helps that it's a fair share of the work that's being held and you're able to upkeep the apartment or your dorm in a good shape. Also talk about the distribution of who's going to be buying things. So right now, me and my roommate, we alternate who brings toilet paper. Sometimes we just bring, like right now, one of us brought the dish soap, another person is bringing the paper towel, and some roommates I've had in the past where they are okay with sharing their kitchen utensils, even just food in the fridge. So definitely be aware of how you want that to be. If you don't want to share anything, make sure you make that clear from the beginning. It will just resolve any conflicts later on in the future. What else do I want to share? This video is not going to go in order, so let's just stop with the tips. But going back to the fridge, so with the fridge, every time when I had a fridge in my room living with roommates, we always like sectioned it off. So either someone would get like the bottom crisper and the top shelf, or like just the middle shelf completely. The freezer was kind of just like a fair share, like there's not much you can separate in a freezer, but you still like had your like corners, if that made sense. But definitely I recommend sectioning off your parts of the fridge so that way you're not missing an egg and you're like, didn't I just buy this? If you find that like your roommates are starting to take your food or like take things and just like not put them back, then definitely try to mention to them. If you don't want to say it verbally, then send a text message. Sometimes that's a lot easier to communicate. I know, like maybe if like the person next to you, their room is too loud, you could always just text them and say, you don't have to go knocking on the door like asking them. Sure, if you want to, sure, but I feel like if you don't want to confront them face to face, then sending a text message is fine. Obviously you want to communicate with your roommates, you want to be able to build lifelong friendships with them. I'm not saying you have to be buddy-buddy, but definitely be respectful to your roommates because you guys are all sharing the space and it's going to impact the way that you have your studies and the way you just experience your college life in general. Having a messy roommate can be hard. Especially if you're a person who likes to be organized. Like, you literally have to spread your bed every morning, you have to make sure your drawers are separated, your closet is color coded. Like, if you're that kind of person, make sure you let your other roommate be aware of that, so they can make an effort to make arrangements to how they would live on their personal habits. Don't think that you're being rude about it. I feel like if they're not aware, they're not really gonna change it. So I've had some roommates in the past where, you know, school gets busy, you don't really get time to wash the dishes, things are like everywhere. Even myself, like, my room is everywhere, you just don't see it right now with this camera angle. But just as long as, like, it's not like a prolonged thing. Like, okay, for sure, like, if it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, and then the weekend comes around and then they finally get the time to clean, do their laundry and all that. But if it's like an ongoing thing, it's like months, then definitely definitely approach them and make sure that they're aware of like how that is. Something that FIU does specifically, I'm sure all campuses do it, is that we have roommate agreements. So that will be like, oh, like, we want the AC at this temperature, or like, we're okay with it being here. Making sure that we know our ages, if someone's 21 and older, making sure that they're aware of that. What else? Basically, if you're okay with sharing your paper towel, if you're okay with sharing your food, what time you go to bed at night, if you're more 3 a.m. or you're 5 a.m., like what time you want the lights off, like what's your study hour, if you're okay with bringing friends over, like mentioning that before. That's kind of what the agreements is going on, and it's really good. I highly recommend that you do that. That way you guys are just all on the same page. You all have to sign it afterwards, so you definitely have to make sure everybody's in the know of what you guys are establishing as rules going into the semester. What else? If your roommate brings over people, say they have a boyfriend or girlfriend, or they just like want to do a little celebration, birthday party, or a game night, movie night, whatever, make that clear from the start as well. Like, making sure that you say, hey, if you ever bring anybody over, just please give me a heads up, so that way I can make sure that my space is clean, or like if I had other plans, like they don't conflict or anything like that. Or if you have a big essay due that night, I know that's personally happened to me where like I didn't know that people were coming over, and I kind of had to like switch locations in order to finish my homework or put in headphones or anything like that, and you're just like, of course this would be on the day where I have XYZ assignment. If you're cool with other people going over, I know everyone has a different situation, so this is definitely based off my own experiences with this video, and I hope it's helping so far and that it's informing you in some way. So cleaning the shower, sharing the fridge, sharing your kitchen utensils, toilet paper, paper towel, having friends over, knowing your sleep schedule, the AC in the room, having a group chat, communicating. Those are like 10 things right there. I'm trying to think what else. You're gonna learn a lot about yourself living with someone else, especially if they're not like family related, because specifically at FIU, people from all over the world kind of come here. It's an international university, so you can be paired with a global exchange student or someone who English wasn't their first language, which is so awesome, right? Because you get to experience, like, I personally had roommates that came from Italy or France, so that's been super cool to experience, because when they cook, like, they kind of cook back on their traditions of what they know from being at home, as opposed to what I'm used to here being in the States. But something that I wish that I was able to do more was to hang out with my roommates more. I'm not going to say that everybody you're going to get along with. Some people is just kind of like a hi and bye kind of thing, and you know, you get to learn more about yourself being in college in general, of who you want to be around. You don't really disperse your energy as much as you would like in high school talking to everybody, because you guys all had the same 5th and 4th period. College is definitely a more independent scene, and that took me a while to get used to at the beginning. I was like, this is so weird. Like, I finished class and like I don't have anybody to talk to, and like I'm going to the dining hall kind of eating by myself, and it's like it gets like very like lonely. But when you switch your mind frame and be like, okay, like just independent, and you start seeing other friends, like it's just like a very much high and bye sometimes. Like, you're gonna be able to have your group settings, but there's gonna be times where you're gonna be very separate and alone and having to work on your internship, your assignments, or just any other personal interests and hobbies that you do. Definitely be involved. If you ever want to hang out with your roommates and you don't really know what to do, go to a game on campus, go to a sports game, go to an event on campus where they're giving out free food, free freebies. That's kind of stuff happens all around at FIU, especially during the fall semester. The summer semester is a little bit more chill. There's not much to do but go to the gym, go to class, and just kind of stay in. Just community everywhere. You just kind of have to find it, and you don't have to force yourself into a community either. It's definitely going to come to you. Personally for me, I'm kind of like a lone ranger at times. Like I know I'm very social on social media, but I'm a very independent and mature person just from like a young age. I was very social. I'm a social butterfly. I love to have conversations with people, but I guess there's kind of like an introvert personality to myself where that's all I want to do is like I just want to be in bed, edit, watch a movie, and just kind of like recharge my battery, if that makes sense. So definitely living with roommates or just being on campus in general, you're going to want to make sure you know who your RA is, your resident assistant. Those are the people who are going to help you on your floor and let you know the information that they have. For example, we have floor meetings, and that always tells us information on like if you're moving out or you're moving in, what to know about living in this space, and what they're going to be doing when they do room checks and all that. It's also a great way for you to meet people who are also on your floor. That way you just get more familiar with the faces around your building. What else? Living with roommates is super fun, but it's not always the easiest. So definitely give yourself grace and don't talk bad about your roommate. Like, I know you're gonna hear stories everywhere. I've heard stories, but honestly, just looking back, I don't even remember like those bad things. I just remember like small things. And I'm a person that documents almost everything. I like to capture little moments here and there. If there's a holiday, definitely do like bake some cookies, you know, do like a little secret Santa if you want to. Like, those are the things that you're going to want to remember. I definitely have a different perspective on what it's like living in Miami and going to school here. My kind of outings look more like going to the movies, to the mall, doing a photo shoot, going to an event, roller skating, ice skating, the beach. Like, those are kind of my events. I'm not really a party goer, to be honest. The transition is not always the easiest. Again, like I said, you might have nights where you're crying in bed, or you know, you just want to be alone, but you have a roommate sitting next to you, and that's going to be okay. You're going to just have to adjust. You're going to have a roommate being next to you, and maybe you might not be able to open up to them as you would like to, but it definitely is a process. Being clear from the start, that way there's no gaps to fill later on. If I have any more tips, I'm definitely going to put them on the screen in this video for you guys, or I'll just make a part 2. Let me know if this video helped you. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I love having you guys all here, being a part of the community. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!